The M1 Carbine. This is truly a piece of American history. I've always been a fan of surplus rifles, and this one is no exception. It's a beauty. Between 1942 and 1945, over 6 million of these rifles were manufactured. In fact, it was the top produced American firearm in World War II. And back then, our whole country was committed to the war effort. We collected pots and pans for the aluminum. Food and gasoline were rationed. Virtually every manufacturer had something to do with the war effort, but those days are over now. Americans can't be bothered with war, not on the home front. You know, after all, the Kardashians are on TV. All manufacturers use the same specifications, so all the parts are interchangeable. No one rifle came from one particular factory. Parts came from plants all across the country. General Motors, Saginaw, Winchester, Underwood, Inland, National Postal Meter, International Harvester, Ricola that built the jukeboxes. Even IBM was building M1 carbines. I wish I had an IBM M1. Bet Bill Gates has one. This one is in Underwood, built in 1945. I've had it about 25 years. I think I paid about $150 for it, and I was shocked to see what they're going for now. You know, you figure they manufactured 6 million of them, they can't be that rare, but the price seems to keep going up. So if you got one on your bucket list, I recommend getting one before it goes up any higher. When I first got it, it had a pretty nasty crack in the stock right below the receiver, to the point where I didn't feel comfortable shooting it. So I got this fold under paratrooper stock. And so I guess that puts it in the category of an M1A1. But the stock seems to work fine. It's been that way ever since. It's a short stroke piston design with rotating bolt chambered for the straight walled 110 grain full metal jacket ball 30 caliber round, which is 7.62 by 33. The barrel has 4 lands with a 1 in 20 twist. Muzzle velocity is about 1970 feet per second. They were issued with 15 round box magazines. This one has a flat bolt, but some are the round bolts, but those were mainly for the M2s. After the introduction of the M2s, they were issued with 30 round magazines. The M2 has a select fire mechanism. The only exterior difference is the lever for the sear interrupter is on the left hand side of the receiver. Its cyclic rate was about 500 rounds per minute, which is still a lot of lead even by today's standards. Later in the war, they put out an M3, which is exactly the same as an N2, but it had an infrared light and a night vision scope installed on it. Truly groundbreaking technology. And there were reports that on Okinawa, over 70% of the casualties were caused by the M3 carbine. Truly a testament to our engineers. They hit the nail on the head there. On paper, the M1's maximum effective range is 300 yards, and I could certainly attest to that. After 300 yards, the bullet drop becomes so significant, and you can't adjust the rear aperture any more than 300 yards. It's all Kentucky windage from there on out. It's a lightweight, well thought out rifle. It has very few moving parts compared to other rifles in the same era. Can be field stripped without tools. As a matter of fact, the barrel band, that's the only thing that really has to come on. The rest of the rifle will fall apart, but the barrel band can be undone with the rim of a 30 caliber round. So virtually without tools in the field. One of the biggest criticisms of the rifle is the underpowered cartridge, but it was never designed to be a miniature Garand. It was designed for medics, tankers, paratroopers, drivers, radio men, anyone whose primary job wasn't a rifleman, and I feel in that respect they hit the nail on the head. There were reports of the 30 caliber round not being able to penetrate the frozen winter clothing of the Korean soldiers. That may be true at extreme ranges, but I played with this thing enough to know that you don't want to be playing catch with this at 300 yards. Came into service in 1942, finished World War II, went on through Korea, did some time in Vietnam, and that's a long life for a service rifle, and it bears respect to the design team. You know, unlike other weapons that bore the name of one specific designer, this was truly a team effort. In its service in Vietnam, it was mainly issued to officers, but as the enemy wised up, many officers discarded the M1 and went with a standard infantry weapon because of enemy snipers. For the same reason, they covered their uniform rank and weren't saluted in the field. They were a crafty bunch over there. The M1 carbine is still in service around the world today and is just as effective as it was the day it was issued. By today's standards, it's antiquated in terms of accuracy and firepower, but all current service rifles owe a debt of gratitude to the M1 carbine, which is truly an American legend.